Hey everybody, welcome back to Electric Cafe. This video is an album review on Psychedelic Furs' second album called Talk Talk Talk. This is one of the only albums of theirs that I don't have on vinyl, but I do have a CD copy here. Um, this album came out in 1981, so it's prime kind of post punk time. In those times, Steve Lillywhite produced this album, which I think he's an awesome producer. Um, Obviously, this album has the classic track "Pretty in Pink," which is kind of a staple, and I feel like is still kind of an underrated song. Although I remember in the '80s it wasn't underrated, but I feel like now in retrospect, as I do a lot of the Psychedelic Furs in general, is very underrated. It's really I don't know why Psychedelic Furs don't get much more respect. I think even bands like Echo and the Bunnymen um, there's bands like that sort of seem to get more respect than Psychedelic Furs. I just feel like Psychedelic Furs are so underrated still. And I don't think it was fully like that in the 80s. They had some success, but looking back, like their albums are all strong and they have many classic songs and many uh, different sides of their songs. I mean, like they can do the normal post punk, they can do some anthems, they can do some really good ballads, and they do some really kind of obscure alternate rocks too that I think is cool. I think they're really talented, and I think they have some really underrated albums. Like World Outside is a very underrated album. Um, I've been meaning to get their new album. I haven't got around to getting their. I think they came out in like 2020, which was their first album since, I guess, World Outside, right? Was their last one. I haven't heard that album, but I've heard some good reviews about it, so I'm looking forward to do that, review that album in the future. Talk 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 is probably it's probably close to my least favorite of theirs in as far as their '80s albums. Um, the There's probably a little bit too many songs in the middle that sort of sound the same. Um, like besides Pretty in Pink, I really like All This and Nothing and She Is Mine. Those are my other two favorite track. I think it's a very good sounding album for 1981. Like with Steve Lillywhite, and it's produced and it's fairly dynamic for the recording for 1981. I feel like it's on the it's still a listenable album as far as the quality of it. It's not very a lot of like 1981 albums, especially in like post punk and anything alternative, is very hollow sounding. I feel like this does have some dynamics to it. Um, the opportunity of the band is really evolving a lot right now from a post punk band to sort of forging their own sound, right? Um, by the time like Mirror Moves, that's their kind of hallmark sound, in my opinion. And here they're sort of coming out of the post punk, but that's not bad in any respect. It just shows you how good they were at doing both. Like it shows their growth from coming through, creating a popular underground band to sort of evolving into some mainstream stuff, but it's some melodic stuff, maybe more new wave. But probably better sound, songwriting, I think a lot better melodies, and not just post punk songs, but they're more on full songs and stuff like that. I feel like as they kind of grew through the '80s, it shows a good sign of their maturing if you look through their albums. I feel like, but songs 3 through 8 kind of a lot of them sound familiar to each other. They just don't really stand out. They're still good songs, but they don't really stand out like I think is the high point of Psychedelic Furs. Their first track, Dumb Waiters, it has a little bit of funk in this. Like it's kind of like obviously like a post punk song, but it kind of has a little bit of funk in it, which is kind of cool. The guitar is really cool in this one. I never liked Dumb Waiters as much as maybe like hardcore Psychedelic Furs fans do. It is my fourth favorite song on there. I do have it 3 stars. I think it's a very good track for sure, but I'm sure some Psychedelic Furs, like hardcore fans, probably would say it's probably closer to a 4 star, but I'm not quite there yet, or quite there. But yeah, 3 stars, still a very good song. Pretty in Pink has to be the best song on this album, I think. It's classic riff, nice organ, well sung. I gave it 4 stars. And here's where the middle of the album, I mean, most of the middle album sort of sounds the same, and I really can't really point out much that I like about the songs, or really that's different, or, I mean, they're all good, don't get me wrong. I Want to Sleep With You is 2 stars. No Tears, 2.25 stars. Mr. Jones, I like a little bit better, 2.5 stars. Into You Like a Train, sounds like I Want to Sleep With You. I also got 2 stars as well. It Goes On, I do like a little bit better, the drumming and things like that. 2.75 stars. So Run Down, back to 2 stars. So just all that in there is good. It's just not, none of it's very good. So all those 6 tracks are all good songs, but none of them get to like 3 stars for me. So it kind of hurts the album in some ways, but it's still a good album. All of this, track number 9, I like a lot better, 3.25 stars. Um, when you listen to those songs in a row too, and then you hear All of This and Nothing, you're like, this is like a total different band. Like, it's a really good song, and then the other ones are kind of like just like post punk songs that are kind of like, I wouldn't say they're throwaway. Like, I do like that kind of. I mean, I like it like more on like President Gas, right? On their first album. But you like listen to like Sister Christian, or not Sister Christian, Sister Christian. What's the Sister of Life, Sister of? Oh, I'm blanking on the first album's the song that has Sister in it. Anyways, like you can tell, like that one is like a slower song. It's not really post punk, and it's probably considered the best song on the album. Same thing here. Like All of Nothing sounds like a totally different song, and it sounds like a totally different band, and it sounds like a much more polished. Not even say polished, just a more just a better song. You know what I mean? Like, I got it 3.25 stars, and then She Is Mine has a lot of personality in it too. I got 3.5 stars. So I feel like and the saxophone's really good in it too. Like it's strange. Like some of the Psychedelic Furs, they get in the sax and these horns sometimes, and they work really good. Which is kind of unusual for a post punk band. Just shows you that. That's another thing about Psychedelic Furs is they have a lot of like unique sounds in their post punk sound. Like you think of like Love My Way with the xylophone. Like that's so unique. That totally made that song. She Is Mine, the saxophone in it kind of makes it in a way. And I don't think I'd ever say that about like a saxophone because I'm not a saxophone fan at all. But there's something about the melody and the sax on She Is Mine that it's just works so well, and it's such an enjoyable song, and it's such a change of pace, and it still has like Richard Butler's kind of punk attitude on there. He's just like ha, she's mine. You know what I mean? He's just like, he's kind of got that like egotistical attitude, your UK kind of punk attitude. Like Richard Butler is such a cool singer. I mean, he's got such a cool vibe, and I love his mannerisms on stage and when in his videos, and he just has like the coolest kind of post punk look. Like he's such a charismatic singer, and he writes really deep lyrics too. I mean, they just got better as the albums get on. So yeah, when I look at the overall, I do have one 4-star track in Pretty in Pink, 3 very good tracks in Dumb Waiter, All This and Nothing, and She Is Mine, and then 6 songs that are right, 6 songs that are good. So it's definitely around the good range. So 27.25 stars divided by 10 songs is a 2.72. So I give it a 63 out of 100. It's a good album, but it shows where the growth of the band is for their second album, them sort of getting better. Mirror Moves, which I also reviewed before, was their fourth album. I gave it a 78 out of 100. So you can see they're sort of, I think they're coming into their own through the next couple albums. And but it's still a really good album. You know, it's got some highlights on it for sure. It's got some good songs, but probably a little bit too many songs that sort of sound like the same. And you know, just kind of coming out of the post-punk and them sort of finding themselves a little bit more. And I think they just become a little bit more well-rounded in the upcoming albums. But yeah, that's my overall thoughts on Psychedelic Furs 1981 album. Talk, talk, talk. 63 out of 100. All right, thanks so much.